Welcome everybody this evening to our first online chapter event this year. So we're here with Amy and Mary from MusicFirst Elementary. So we're really excited to be learning this evening. If you're catching the recording, you're be ready for lots of great stuff. So I'm gonna turn it over to Amy and Mary.
All right. Well, welcome. My name is Amy Burns, and I am a preschool through fourth grade elementary general music teacher here up in New Jersey at a private school. I'm also fifth and sixth grade instrument class, fourth through eighth grade band, and I teach private lessons as well. I'm on NJMEA as their general music chair. And some of my side gigs are I'm elementary music consultant at MusicFirst, and I also work for Midnight Music in their community, if you've ever heard of Katie Argyle and Midnight Music over in Australia. And Mary, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yes, thank you for having me, Eric. I actually work for Charanga, which is a kind of what would I say? It's the UK version of MusicFirst, I guess I would say is the best way to put it. But my role there is to be the USA curriculum advisor. Prior to this role, I taught elementary music, middle school choir, preschool music, and worked in the music education department at the University of Florida.
So MusicFirst Elementary, what I adore about this program is that it is a wonderful scope and sequence. And we do a lot of mind-brain education at our school. And I love that this is a very spiral scaffolding curriculum. On the left side of the screen, you see all K through 5. This is the curriculum part. On the right side of the screen, we have creative tools. There are 7 creative tools here in MusicFirst Elementary. This helps you to realize that you don't actually have to go and purchase extra to do something like rhythm grids, which is great for decoding. Right now we're doing pass a pumpkin round and round, and my first graders are decoding that using rhythm grids. It does have a notation program. It actually has what I used to call band in a box. This is great. Like you can write a melody for your instruments and then choose 10 different styles to accompany it. And it is one of the only places that has a digital audio workstation that can score movies and notate and is web-based. And it has a graphic score tool, which I'm loving to use for percussion maps and listening maps. So there's some great creative tools, and then it has a whole supplementary tab. If you are Kodály-inspired, it has interactive Kodály resources in here. It has fantastic resources for ukulele and glockenspiels and boomwhacker play-alongs and recorder pieces and a lot more, a lot of retrieval practice and stations with the musical games and all our Spanish songs listed in one place as well in the curriculum. So I'm actually going to start us over in the curriculum. And when we jump into something, I'm going to actually jump into second grade because that's a nice middle portion here. You will notice a lot of documents. Mary has worked very, very hard and diligently to make sure that a lot of the assessment and printables are items you can use right away. And I love these. These are really actually fantastic. Anything can be downloaded or viewed in a page. So if you were looking for this assessment guide, you easily have access to it and you can go through the summative assessment checklist and the formative, and it's all right there. Right here. There's a lot of these go with the lesson, so you can look for that. Other key documents, we had Lisa writing us Orff-inspired activities that extend into the curriculum. So she took songs from the curriculum or songs and activities inspired by songs in the curriculum. And so you have some wonderful Orff-inspired extension activities in here. Like I've taken her Bate Chocolate. This is great for right now at this time of year. If you can't do Halloween, she has an Skin and Bones right in here. So there's some wonderful Orff-inspired activities in our younger grades that are also coming to our older grades. Curriculum maps. If you are a new teacher, you do not need to reinvent the wheel. Go ahead and jump right into these curriculum maps, download them, and hand them to your administrator. You're as good as gold. But these are also to help you start making that curriculum yours, which I really love because you can, my first year, follow this one lesson at a time. There's 6 units in this grade level with 6 lessons in each unit. So that's 36 lessons, song-based on public domain songs or original music. Nothing quote unquote cheesy, nothing kind of, misappropriated, right? This is nice, wonderful music, and I'm going to show you that. So you can go one lesson at a time, or it's very flexible where you can just pick and choose and use what you need to use in your curriculum. So let's jump into one. If I jumped into the first lesson in Unit 1 in Music in My Soul, there's not a lot of clicking. So if you're someone who has had experience with other curriculums where it's so hidden and so many clicks, and then you're like, I don't know how to find this, and I don't know how to find this. That's one of the things I love about this curriculum. You're not clicking. It's like a click here, a click there. Here's your lesson plans. Here's the sheet music. Here's just Music in My Soul lyrics. So it's all right here that you can just grab. And then when I want to teach it, click teach. Here comes up the manipulatives. So I always hit this to make it bigger on my screen. And with second grade, they have devices. I might have them come in with them. I might not. This I would just project onto my screen. I have a interactive whiteboard. Again, doesn't need to be interactive. All of the grade levels start with a baseline quiz. This is fabulous. I had last week my first grade come up. Each one did a question while I sat there and assessed using Mary's documents. It was fabulous. Thank you. And had that pre-test down. So I had some data when I'm going to be asked by administration about it. And I just used the baseline quiz, which was great. When we got into the first activity, all lessons start with understanding music. I love this activity because what it does is it allows my students coming in from recess, coming in from PE, or if I'm going to the classroom, it tells them that it is music time. No matter where we might be, no matter what's going on, it is music time. These understanding musics are so great because the first thing they do is they copy the monsters finding the pause. My second graders particularly love the boombox, even though they don't know what exactly that is. Just to give you a little snippet of this, this is what it sounds like. It gets that steady beat grooving. I see all y'all grooving on there, so I know you can hear the sound. Thank you. As I click through, we do a call and response clapping. And I'm going to do a little bit of this, and then I'm going to pause it and show you some of the things you can change in the settings to make it more for you and your classroom. All right, so I'm going to pause it there. I saw a lot of clapping going on. Excellent job. In the settings, if I wanted to actually change that so it had the Kodály notation, see it there? It can actually do that. So you could change it to that Kodály. If you are into counting, maybe you have to lead into a band program and the band teacher has asked you to please use counting. You can add the counting or just leave it as you saw, text or blank, use your own. Continuing on, I'm going to jump into here. Now we get into the question and answer. I did this with my, who did I have today? Third graders. And what this is improvisation. And I loved it because one of my third graders goes, that's what acting class says. And I was like, yes. And what does it mean? She goes, make it up. And I was like, yes. And they had their recorders because we were using the third grade understanding music, and they were making answers to this. So it's great. They clap a question, and I try to remind the students not to repeat it, but some of them are more comfortable with that. That's okay. That's a first step into improvisation. But it continues on, and then they clap it. and improv. Then they get to play back using instruments. So again, you can change the setting on this one to recorder. That's what I did today. And they were playing back on recorder, and then they were improving back on recorder. So it shows them to improv on GED. I would not do this with second grade on recorder. Recorder in my school starts in third grade, and they wouldn't be doing probably D yet. That's just my philosophy on that. You can always do what works best for you. But you could switch that over off of your recorder back to xylophones, and yes, and I've had my second graders do this. They pull the bars out and they improv, and it's really, really fabulous. I love that. When you get here, it's going to start scrunching up your face, making it real small, and then touching your nose, your tongue to your nose, cleaning your teeth. It's getting you to actually sing. And then when we get back over here, you're going to sing after them. Now they do la. But you could say, I would like, instead of a note name, solfege, or you could say, here, display the solfege signs. So instead of doing la, this is G, A, and B, so it's do, re, mi, you could do this instead. It's really flexible. That's what I love about that. And that understanding music is up in G, A, and B, where I really would like my second graders to be singing. So this is a great way to warm them up. Then when we jump into here, and I will say just a few things, K1 and 2 are grouped together, more of the same. 3, 4, and 5 have a lot more info, a lot more maturity, and a lot more range. So again, it's growing with them so they won't find 3, 4, and 5 babyish. And here in the listen and respond, this is fabulous because I kind of work with a little bit of the Dr. Fire Robin 8 Steps program. I really want them to hear songs a few times before we start trying to sing them. So this really helps because one of the times is just going through all these tabs as they listen to this song. And these tabs in K1 and 2, they just give you 3 tabs. In 3, 4, and 5, they're going to give you, I think, 6 tabs. But I'm going to play a little bit of this, and I'm going to click through. And these are great higher order thinking questions. Again, check it off with that administrator who's in your room. And they are really thinking about the song as they listen. So let's look at some of these as you listen.
Look up and down, feet on the ground. You know that love is all around. Whether you're wrong, whether you're right, you won't give up without a fight.
Isn't that great? It's an original song that was written by Joanna, I believe, right? Joanna and Pete. I think it's Joanna and Pete. And Joanna is she couldn't make it today, but Joanna and Mary we work very close. They work together. I work close with them. And she wrote a lot of this because she wrote this. This has been in the UK for 20 plus years. So she wrote a lot of this original music and things that she writes, they just are ear candy to my students. They'll leave my class marching down the hallway singing these songs. I'm like, Joanna, how do you do that? But I love that it shows you here kind of did you know, and it goes into a little bit more of music history. So cool. And my students love to hear this. Like when I'm reading this, they're like, I have a question. Like they get really curious and into discussions. It's almost like, okay, let's go back to singing or let's go back to another activity. So you can see how it's divided down here. That's going to help you learn to sing the song. When you do get ready, you can see how the colors coordinated. Now you could do the whole song just like this because that administrator is in the back of the room assessing if you're showing reading in your classroom. This is great. You can show reading in your classroom because it will highlight the words. But you would rather do it with a score. Of course, it's available to be able to do that. Isn't that great? And again, you have sections. Now, the performing of the song is here, but many of our songs have these other activities. So I want to show you these song-based activities. Some of them are play-alongs like this. Now, again, I don't have recorders in 2nd grade, but I do have a lot of different Orff instruments. So the first part, the left side, it's usually the second part, I think, will have more complex. This is for my pianist who really doesn't want to play just the same note over and over again. This is steady beat. This is more of the melodies, rhythms. And if you're like, well, they could use the sheet music, yeah, it's right over here. So you could actually grab that sheet music and show it to them and help them that way. And what's great is you can, over here, hit play and jump over here and use the sheet music. It's great that it crosses tabs like that, and you're not worrying about, oh, I have to hit play, then I have to, it's like, it's nice. It's so many, like, not many clicks. It's really great. Now, improvise, again, I love how this curriculum, and improvising is starting as young as kindergarten. This is really not like a 2nd grade thing. It starts in kindergarten. It's very natural and intuitive. And I could show you amazing videos from my students that I hope I get a chance to show you of them doing these activities and improvising. The improvisation is basically they're going to tell you to improvise, but you could use an instrument, or you could clap, or you could sing. So it doesn't matter if you don't have these instruments. It's very flexible. Take rhythm sticks and improvise rhythm patterns. And then this I love. Now this is actually my 2nd grader's piece. And I'm wondering if this is the one they named. Let me bring it back and big here. This is the one, yeah, 2nd Colors Band to C2M Pizza Sun French Fries. They made this last week. This is what they called it. It was like, love you. Love this. This is amazing. Now, my 2nd graders, I chose to use, you can choose out of 6 items for them to compose, like tools. And I chose the grids with pitch. So all they had to do, I'm going to go with a new one because I don't want to upset their song. I went with 3 because they're going to play it back. And that's what we're going to do this week is play this back. And we went with the note grid. They're not ready for the staff yet. So all they had to do, since we picked C, D, E, no ledger lines. They can't go all anywhere else but C, D, E. And they just place it on this grid. And when they did this, they realized what the rhythms were. They're like, here are my tas. Here are my whole note hold its. We talked about questions and answers. So maybe have that end on a question and then use some patterns and end on an answer. As we continue, they haven't quite gotten that yet, but that is okay. Now I have this and I hit play. They can actually play along on their xylophones, which is what they were doing last week. But I'm going to click through so you can see how well you could use this because it's so flexible. So it always does this count in. They're not ready for pitch yet. This is great. Not even ready for notation. Just need to see the steady beat. That is Music Explorer. That's one of the 7 tools that's included in MusicFirst Elementary. And what's so fantastic is it's also built into the lesson. So a lot of these lessons have Music Explorer. My younger ones in kindergarten, not only that, they made it, again, they're so good about making this work for the age level. They get the color blocks here that will go with boomwhackers or their Prodigy bells or their desktop bells. Like, look at that. And that is symbol of this. And when we did this one, we really tried to use patterns with my kindergartners so that when they play with their bells, they can predict the pattern. So I just love that. Again, that's so wonderfully like perfect for K1 and 2. And you can see a lot of that continues on. There are Spanish songs included, and they are actually translating this site to Spanish as well, because I know my Spanish teacher was working on that a little bit. As we jump into an older grade, as I said, 3, 4, and 5 are grouped a little bit differently because it grows with them. And when it grows with them like that, it's a really nice thing. We're going to go into Vibora de la Mar. So you can see here, we have the same understanding music, and it encourages, again, kind of what the second grade was encouraging, using your recorder, using your xylophones. But when we get into the listen and respond, here you can see there's a lot more because, again, the kids are older. So the respond now has 6 different categories. And as you listen to this beautifully authentic recording, I'm going to just jump through some of these categories so you can see how it has matured with them.
1, 2, 1, 2.
Víbora de la mar,
Por aquí pueden pasar
por aquí yo pasaré,
y una niña dejaré.
una niña cuál será.
La de adelante o la de atrás.
Beautiful. Like, I love that recording, first of all. I love that it has more mature questions for your more mature students, 3, 4, and 5. It has these listening sections that it starts at the part of the recording that they want you to listen and answer and talk about. And then you have all the cross-curricular connections here. So it goes into the history. It shows you the game and how to play the game. You will find movement and games embedded in this. And Mary is actually working to make that into easier to find, which is fabulous. They talk to you about the cross-curricular, the yellow-bellied sea snake, sorry, and there it is, the snake in the sand. If you like that, listen to this. Is that fabulous too? And it talks about also the musical style of folk. And then the Connect tells you where it is in the music history timeline. Again, you have more of play your instruments. Notepad, this is again another one of our creative tools. This is an elementary music notation program, very age appropriate for our students. And then performing the song. Up here is where I want to now show you something so incredibly cool that happens in 3rd, 4th, and 5th. First of all, let's say you have that pianist in your classroom that seems to be getting a little bored. Well, give them the song and have them play on the piano with you. Or some reason you have a child playing viola in your 3rd grade. That's exceptional. You want to feature them a little bit more in class? Here's the viola part. Here's the bass clef part. Here's for your French horn. Here's your alto saxophone. And here's your clarinet. Here's the English translation that my teacher did, Senora Maria, my good friend. And of course the lyrics, but I'm not done. If you go into the sheet music, this blew my mind. There were a few things when I started using MusicFirst Elementary that blew my mind, and this was one of them. I can actually go and assign, this is a little low for flutes, but flute 2, flute 3, I have parts here where my beginner flute players, my 4th grade flute player, I just started her a few weeks ago, I can now give this to her and she can play along in class. Clarinet part. Let's look at clarinet 4. Look at that, your beginner clarinetist. So let's say there's a band program going on and you're the general music teacher and there's a band teacher. Ask them to bring their clarinets to class and play along. Bassoons, all woodwinds, brass. I'm not done. Keeps going. Can't pass the brass. Percussion, keyboard, guitar. I had a 4th grade guitarist 2 years ago, did not like my class, started using this at the end of the year, said, you know, I have this guitar part. He was like, can I bring my guitar in? I'm like, yeah, you can bring your guitar in. Do you want easy or advanced? Well, I want advanced. Let's start easy and then tell me if you go to advanced. But he brought his guitar in for the rest of the year and kept playing along. And he was so excited about music. And it's like, yes, string parts. Yep. And there's classroom instruments like ukulele is here. Fabulous, fabulous. So this blew my mind because I also run our band, which has 9 pianos, a harpist, a drummer, 4 clarinets, 4 flutes, a cello, 2 violins. Yeah. So not many people arrange for that, and I love that I can take arrangements from here. Oh, so cool. But there's so much more I want to show you. So those creative tools I showed you, I want to show you the rhythm grids. I think this is really, really, really cool. As I was telling you, we're doing Pass the Pumpkin right now. So I can actually show you an example, but I'm going to start new again. And I'm going to do 4, 4. And I'm going to make it big. And these are blobs. I'm going to go with sticks. Okay, so stick notation there. So pass the pumpkin round and round. So I have the students come up and they put in the notation. Again, it's not one-on-one. I could do this one-on-one, but I'm not yet. Okay, so they could do that. Then I have them clap it. Then I click here and hit play, and let's see if they got it right. Ah, one wrong right there. Now, they got it. Let's say they got it. So then I say go into the settings and now pick rock, Latin, orchestral, hip hop, or fusion. Great way to introduce these, talk about these. Okay, rock. Let's say they pick rock. Now I'm going to keep here on, but here will only play it once for you. And we can randomize. And they could try that. You could shuffle. Pretty cool. I love this for decoding. Like, this is my favorite tool to decode. And again, you could put notes in there. You could put symbols in there. It's very age appropriate. As one of our 7 tools, that's one I use with my younger students a lot. The graphic score is really fantastic. In the graphic score, you could just go in and create a score, and I would use this a lot for some sort of thinking map or a listening map. And you can choose it, like maybe it's a 3, 4, and 4 measures, and there's a lot of different tools that you can use. Always remember to make the screen bigger. It really does help in this program. Lines, shapes, instruments, percussion, notation. So there's a lot we could do here, and there's drawing tools. So you could do something that involves shapes, and you can change the colors. So it could be like, if you are playing the steady beat and you are playing a woods, you play every time you see the purple square. Okay, so these are quarter notes, let's say, and they're going to play on beats 1 and 2. But the stars, you're going to be my medals, and you're going to play on beat 3. And then you have this listening map, which is really great. And again, you can save these things. It's always fabulous that everything can be saved and things can be exported as well. But going back into the graphic score tool, if I were to go into, I'm going to bring it back to Sparkle, which is a kindergarten song, there's actually already the backing track. So you can actually create something with the backing track. So I created this one for my students so that they could actually pick up instruments and improvise or play along. Right now it's playing along. You'll notice I went from traditional or Kodály notation to icon. And that way it's showing kind of the melody going up and down, and different ways to do this. So when you hit play, they can play along with this in this graphic tool. And this is how I chose to make mine. Triangle. a great way to create a listening map and or do have them actually create. And it's so age appropriate. I mean, look at all those different tools I use, because you can really be so flexible to use this with any grade level and any type of tool, and really just have them create together. These creative tools, again, really help you to not have to actually go out and get additional subscriptions. Even going into something like this, your fifth graders will be all over this. Again, through UMU, you can have, let's say your fifth graders come in with toys. I'm sorry, Chromebooks. I just don't like Chromebooks. I am so not a fan of Chromebooks. But through UMU, I can actually take the class list, put it into UMU, and it will spit out their logins and passwords, meaning that they don't have to be going through the IT department. If your IT department's really like, I don't want to give out privacy information, even though this is all COPA and FARPA, fine. But this is great because you don't have to actually have them log in with an email address. No email addresses are needed. You can just use UMU as the way for them to be able to access anything that you can make, because yes, you can customize your lessons just like in other programs. Going into the UStudio app, as I said, this is the only app, and I've been playing with it, so much fun here. I'm going to start new. This is the only web-based app that you can score a movie and do notation. So what I mean by that is if I start with a new track and just put in a score, and let's say we're going to make it recorder. Where is it? Wind. Thank you. If I go into recorder, I'm going to close this window, double click. I actually can notate in here. So if you are someone who's doing this with your students and you've been using notation programs, you can actually notate in here, and then they can go into the sounds and audio. I'm going to pack this up. I always start with instrument, and you can find loops. So if you've been using BandLab or EDU or Soundtrap EDU, this could actually be in the place of that and be able to work in the same way. So like if you wanted to add, let's say, a drum beat, and you were into a full drum beat, you can take a listen. Double click it in. You're all grooving. I'm loving it. Thank you. Close it up and then move it around. The other thing people have said to me is, well, it's snapping to the grid. Doesn't have to snap to the grid. You can hold the control key. Sorry, it's doing that. But you can hold the control key and move it around. Hold the control key and move it around. There we go. So you don't have to snap to grid as it's showing you there. Here are your volume tools. And yes, there's an effect. So you could add a little reverb if you want to. Actually, I wouldn't add it to that. I would add it to this. But let's talk about the movies. So you could, if your students have STEAM or they're using Canva in their STEAM classes, or maybe you just want to use one of the movies that's already here. Future projects are coming very soon, like a project-based learning with this, so that you could actually just take a lesson and do that, so you don't have to create your own. But my fifth graders study whales. So I'm going to grab the ocean view video, double click, and it's in. Let me show you. This preview frame is brand new. I love this because then I can kind of score into what I can see in the preview frame. I can also bring it right up on screen as well. But let's say I want to add bubbles, because I see it right there. So I go back into the sounds, go into the audio, and I'm going to look for sound effects. The sound effects are here. I'm going to look for underwater, and here are my bubbles. So I'm going to grab the bubbles, close it, and move it. And again, the control key will allow you to place it so you don't have to snap to grid. Now when I do this and I bring this up, I'm actually scoring a movie. So cool. That was another thing that blew my mind. Is it stuck in the program? No, not stuck in the program. Go to File, Export, and you can export it as a video. So you could put this up on your school website or on your music page or on Seesaw or however you are communicating with your parents and say, look what they did. That is pretty fantastic, I gotta tell you, and that was one of the things that blew my mind. As I showed you before, in the supplementary tab, we have some great items in here. Since this is an Orff chapter, I'm going to show Recorder if you don't mind. So Recorder, I have personally been working on a spreadsheet because there's a lot of choices here, which I absolutely love. Honestly, I was gotten so tired of the Recorder songs I was using. I just deep dove into this. So I have actually created a spreadsheet that actually says here are all the notes. Here are all the rhythms used. And like I needed a song that introduced E a little bit better where I wasn't like, it wasn't too complicated. And I found one in here. And I actually said like, here's a progression that works for me. So I'm actually going to, ready to give this to Charanga once I finish. I want to do this with all in the supplementary. But let's say you want to go into 3 notes and you were going to do like B, A, and G. Make it bigger again, and you can find some really great songs. You can just grab it like an autumn day, something like this. This one has a title slide. It's going to show you all the concepts. You jump in. I love the settings. First of all, my students go nuts over the tempo. Once they learn it, they're like, can you go faster? Hit it again. Hit it a little faster, Mrs. Burns. Can you do it? I'm like, okay, let's try it. The settings allows you to put in notation letters and names. Some of the settings has this, so it actually just leaves the notation out and just has letters. It depends on which one you use. It's so great. You could do the lead and backing or backing only. You can actually just do it with the instrument if the notation is just too busy for them. There's so many wonderful like items like that and flexibility. The hot cross buns, they told me, is pretty much Roblox. They said, Mrs. Burns, I'm pretty sure this is from Roblox. And I was like, really? You tell me. Take a listen to it. That is really cool. That's what I was showing you with the notation. Tell me Roblox. I was like, I'm going to trust my 8-year-old. Sure, that's Roblox. That sounds good. I'm that cool. I put a Roblox song in your classroom. And again, the supplementary tab has so much more. We were asked to have the Spanish songs found in one place. And this is what I love about MusicFirst Elementary Powered by Charanga. Because when a teacher requests something, they listen. And it might come the next week or it might come in a few months, but they listen. And I really wanted like this. I wanted these resources. It came a couple of months later. I said, this looks odd. They changed it. I was like, they listen to their teachers. And I really think that is one of their fantastic qualities. And just to show you, just before I go into any sort of Q&A or what Mary might want to expand on, give me a thumbs up if you now see my PowerPoint. You good? Okay, so I wanted to show you just some student examples in my classroom of this program. Here in this little, this is my second graders, and they are doing the warm up. So you can see them all kind of warming up. Your turn. Their turn. Your turn. Their turn. Amy will play. Amy is improvising. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. So you can tell she was improvising. I love that she hit the phrases. So I was like, Amy, nice job. Like she really improvised. And that was one of those improvised activities. Here is my band playing one of the arrangements. Just a little snippet. that's one of the arrangements in here. Here's my preschool singing the Hello song by Joanna. They're so cute. And here is Lily doing one of the assessments I was doing last week. And here is Kellen. He is decoding bate bate. Go ahead.
Bate bate chocolate.
Yeah, thank you, Kellen. Here is Bella. Bella is going to actually point out to me that I didn't use enough measures.
Round the pass.
Jack is doing it.
Round the. What do you think?
There's only 7?
I don't know. We'll have to find out. Pass the pumpkin round the.
Yes, she has pointed out that my measures, I did that in 2/4 instead of 4/4. But this is what they did later on.
Here we sing. Pass the pumpkin round and round. Listen to the minor sound.
Yeah, using the decoding tool. This decoding went awry because they found the 16th notes. You wrote it. And then Eric has been writing some orchestrations for us. So this goes to Sparkle, which is one of the kindergarten songs. And this was just yesterday. So they are doing a little bit of his orchestration here. Show me your tail. It's right under your feet, bud. It's right under your feet. Bike handles. What are the 2 words? Sprinkle and sparkle. Here I go. Sprinkle magic dust on me. Here we go. Sprinkle, sprinkle. What are we going to say? 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Turn around and touch the ground. Here we go. They're just learning that yesterday, so I thought that was so good. Loving what they're showing. But I did want to just show you some of those student examples because I want you to know I practice what I preach. These students are doing this. This was my kindergarten using UStudio to create music in the form of Vivaldi Spring. Over here, this is the students using their recorders on that hot cross buns. Here, my 4th graders were testing for a star on their recorder belts. So they were using one of the songs and testing in groups. It's a really fabulous curriculum. And it's one that's like, I just can't stop speaking highly of. I'm going to bring you all back onto my screen. And that I would love to take questions, have Mary add in things I might have missed. But I would love any questions about it. I really do live by it. I use it. I supplement with it and use it a lot daily in my classroom. And it's been wonderful. The students really respond beautifully to it. So do we have questions? Mary, did you want to add? What should we do?
That was wonderful, Amy. Thank you. I think just to reiterate that it's very flexible. You can create your own units, your own lessons, and bring in your own favorite resources and materials as well. So again, it's meant to be flexible. You can use it in its entirety or just pick and choose. But since Eric is an Orff professional, it might be nice to hear about how you've used it from an Orff perspective and some of the work you've done to bring in more of the orchestrations.
Yeah, so I've been able to go through and write some orchestrations in elemental style, and just like that little sparkle piece, highlighting some special words in there. One that was really my kids really loved is the 3rd grade lesson, the Big Bear Funk. I finally had to say this. We've done this lesson enough. We've got to move on to something new, because they really enjoyed it. So I was able to do a version of an Orff orchestration that looks very elemental in nature, but being able to play along with the recording, which worked out really well. So they've really enjoyed that. one of the ukulele lessons, the very first ukulele song. I did it with my summer school students last year, and that was the only one that they requested. Please do it again. Do it again. We want to do this more. It was playing on the C chord, and so it's been a lot of fun. And I found the song materials to be really rich, and it's got, I think, a very diverse song base that shares equally with some really great traditional folk songs and some newly composed material that's not over orchestrated. Because I think sometimes, in my experience, some of the other stuff, it's always like everything is a huge Disney production, and it's just overdone a little bit and starts to hide and shadow the voice a little bit. So yeah, so I've been really enjoying what I've done with my students so far.
We really try to incorporate a lot of different styles of music. So you have your traditional folk music. You might have a traditional sea shanty that's done in more of a rock groove. And so the music does grow nicely with children, and they don't really age out of it or feel that it's babyish. So you might enjoy just looking through some of the different styles of music that you'll find in MusicFirst Elementary. We might want to have some time for questions.
Go for it, Annie. I know you always got good questions.
So I had just two that came to my mind. I really like the graphic score. I feel like there's a lot of stuff out there, and we can do Google Slides or whatever, but I really liked how it was. And maybe you showed a little bit of it, maybe I didn't understand. You said that it was embedded. Are there graphic scores on there that I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say, that go with the material that's already on there? Or even, you see a lot of stuff about classical music. Is there pre-made stuff on there with that graphic score, or is it mostly just like a manipulative tool? If that makes sense. I know what's in here, but it's not coming out.
No, it totally makes sense. It's both. It started as just like original, like you were just putting things up on the screen, and both, I think Mary was in that conversation when Joanna and I were like, it would really be nice if they took some of the songs from the curriculum and put them as background tracks. So that sparkle you saw is a background track that's in, like, it's there, it's a template there. And then I went through that and created what you just saw on the screen, because I was like, I love this, and let's turn this into a listening map with so many different elements that I could use at a variety of grade levels. So it does have, it actually, it stations it out. So it says like K1, 2, and then 3, I think 4, 5. So you can find some of the backing tracks. And then after they learn the song, they can create this way, which I love, in graphic. Yeah, in a graphic notation.
Or you don't have to use the tracks. You could use it either way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then my second question was, and what was like the login for the student? What does the student side look like? I'm thinking about like assessments and stuff. I know there was a little bit of interactive. Is there like individual stuff where like you can throw an assessment up for the kids and they do it on their own device? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, you totally could. You can assign pretty much anything, because the way they set that up, there's lessons where you can click on the top of the screen, say assign, and it will assign it and put it into your student work, and you can assign it in the UMU. Or each individual activity can be assigned. So I love that too. Like, I don't have to take the whole sidebar there. I could just take one activity from that sidebar and put it in, and you can totally custom make your lessons. I gotta tell you, because now Google Slides has been ingrained in my head for 5 years, since that's what we went to in COVID. I actually take the MusicFirst Elementary link to the activity and throw it in my Google Slides. And then when that day I just click on it, opens it up in MusicFirst, and there it is. So like, that's the way I found it to be easiest for me. But I have like customized lessons, just like I know Quaver is one of the curriculums we're compared to. Just like in Quaver, when you can customize inside of MusicFirst Elementary, or do what I've done, take the link and throw it into Google Slides.
Not you, George, sorry.
Hi, George.
Hey, George.
Hi. Sorry I came in late. I was doing children's choir at church.
I hope someone let you in, because I didn't know if anyone had that ability. Oh, Mary did, thank goodness, because I'm like, if someone comes in, I have no clue.
Okay, and we've recorded everything, so you can watch it on your own time if you're interested in coming back.
Thank you so much.
And on this recording, if you have questions, you can contact Eric to get in touch with Mary and I, and we're happy to answer any questions you have. There is a 30-day free trial. And the best way to do that, probably, Eric, is to send out the link with the 30-day free trial when you send out this recording, and try it for 30 days and see what you do with it. I have on my YouTube channel, I have 2 playlists to help you get started with MusicFirst Elementary. I have the thorough video for the person who needs a step-by-step, this is what I need, and all these different topics. And then I have the Tech Tip Tuesday, which is kind of 3 minutes or 4-minute video. Like, you know, here, like yesterday's was 2 minutes. It was like, UStudio has a preview line, but that was a huge thing because I love to be able to hit the mark on the video. So I was like, that's great. So we at my YouTube channel, Amy Willis Burns, I don't know, my students subscribe to it. It has a lot of play along videos, but it has these playlists to help you with MusicFirst Elementary. So there's tons of things you can do there. And then a lot of times people will just ask to extend the trial if you need to. And Robin, who was on the call when we began, usually is very easy to just extend the trial a little bit longer so you can really work with your kids and try it.
Appreciate that. We're getting ready in our county where Eric and I teach to do like a curriculum adoption. So we're kind of doing some research and dipping our toes into something. So thank you that I can go back to my teachers and have a bird's eye view, I guess.
So for the curriculum adoption, please contact us because we are more than happy to do this with anyone that needs to see it.
Yep, and we offer pilots as well. So, you know, if you're looking to try it out for longer than a month and you'd like to pilot it in some way, we can work that out with you too. We're hoping to have Eric's work up soon. He's got beautiful orchestrations coming that are very flexible depending on what classroom instruments you have. And so
as you could see.
I'm very, very excited about those, which will be coming very soon.
Yeah, I'm thrilled I already have access to them. So
yeah. And Lisa's, if you know, we just kind of breezed over that, but on every, well, for K through 2 right now, we have other Orff resources up, kind of in a PDF format where you can print out supplementary activities that complement some of the music for K through 2. Grades 3 through 5 are coming soon as well. But that's a nice way to dip your toe in and see if those work nicely for you as well. Thanks, Annie.
Yeah, and some of that 3, 4, 5, I've been kind of concentrating up in really in like 4th grade lately. I think I've probably done 10, 15-ish in that range in just in like the 4th and 5th grade in the last probably 3, 4 weeks. So there's some stuff in there. The disco stuff has worked out really well with Orff instruments. It's just I'm excited for people to be able to see that stuff because it just works. Surprisingly, I was kind of surprised. I was like, oh, look how well this is working with Orff instruments. You being able to use the recording on some things, and yeah, so it's been really exciting.
That's great. Gives kids a feel for different kinds of music too.
Well, are we good? What do you think?
I'm excited to check out the recording and the trial. So that's super exciting for me.
It's exciting. Oh, awesome.
I think you'll really like it, George. Yeah.
Cool. It sounds great. Yeah. From the little I heard, it sounds really neat. So I'm excited to check it out.
Fabulous.
Well, we love feedback. So, feel free to email us. Pros, cons, we're able to tweak things. So.
Absolutely.
I'm so good at tweaking. So good. All right. Well, you all have a great night.
Okay.
And thank you so much
guys
for this. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.